Hey guys, and welcome back to another video with your two favorite book nerds, Amy
and Kelly.
Today we're talking about our January reads. The first reads of 2025! Woo! And it actually was a month for me. I'm so excited.
No.
Not so much for Kelly, but it was for me. So, alright, we're gonna jump into it. We're kind of short on time today, so we're gonna run through things a little quick, but
yeah.
Let's get into it. Okay, so January, I read 8 books. 8, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Woo, 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 woo. Okay, so the 8 books that I read in January, we have The Teller of Small Fortunes, which I gave 4 stars to. I read The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay, which I gave 1 star to. I read Tinfoil Butterfly by Rachel Eve Moulton, which I gave 2 stars. I read Mayfly by C.J. Leedy. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Maybe just lead.
Maybe that too.
I don't know.
I gave this book 4 stars. Then I read Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, which I gave 4 stars. Small Town Horror by Ronald Malfi, which I gave 4 stars.
Well.
You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose, which I gave 3 stars. And The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, which I gave 4 stars. For an average rating in the month of January of 3.3 stars.
I don't have that one yet.
There you go. Now you can borrow it. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I don't know. She's feeling pretty big, but I'm about to knock her down because I read all of 1 book in January.
Woo!
1 book, which was The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Blakely.
What did you rate it?
2 stars.
Oh no. It was a Goodreads winner.
It was.
Winner.
No, it was the winner of the science fiction category.
No.
Yeah.
That's sad day.
Yeah. I will say, I deserve some credit because I have been reading Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which is over 1,200 pages long, and I'm about 75% done. So I have, in effect, read another 4 books.
Yeah, I'll give that to you, for sure. I don't think I could ever. I'll just have to listen to someone else tell me what that book is about and spoil it all, because I don't think I have the patience to read a book that big.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for pages for me in January, I read 2,546 for an average book length of 318. My longest book was Small Town Horror, and my shortest book was Tinfoil Butterfly. Okay, so I read 332 pages for an average of 332 pages. My longest book was 332 pages. My shortest book was 332 pages. Well, I had, for authors, there were 5 authors that were new to me. We had the author of The Teller of Small Fortunes, which I don't remember who wrote that book.
Oh, Julie Leon.
Yes. Rachel Eve Moulton, C.J. Leedy.
Oh, your battery's already gone.
Oh no. And Ronald Malfi. And Darcy Coates. All those were new to me. I would read from all of them again except for Rachel. So, yeah.
Okay, well, my one author was new to me. I think I might read from her again because this is a debut. And I think that a lot of the issues that I had could come from being a very new author. So, if it was interesting, I would read from her again.
For genres, I had 1 fantasy, 6 horror, and 1 thriller. Very good month for me, genre-wise.
My one genre was science fiction.
Okay, so my battery's about to die already, and this is going to be great. I'm running through this so fast because we only have 1 battery. This is going to be
Oh, this is all we got, kids.
This is all we got. Okay, Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. That was a book club book, so I don't really have to talk about it. You can go see our live book club discussion over there. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was great. I loved the cozy fantasy that it was. It was a really good story for me. Didn't hit for Kelly, but it definitely hit for me. I just loved the characters, and I was sad that the cat wasn't magical, but everything else I was okay with.
Yes.
Yeah. The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. This is about a kid who in high school starts a club called the Pallbearers Club, where they volunteer at a funeral home and be pallbearers for those who don't have any. And he ends up meeting this girl who's a college girl who wants to join the club as well or something, and Something strange is up with her, and I don't know, it's supposed to be good. It was absolutely terrible. It was the most boring book that I've ever read in my entire lifetime. I hated every second of it. I don't know why I finished it. I should have DNF'd it. Absolutely nothing happened in the book. It was just dumb. Like, even the very end, like, it wasn't even that big of a thing that happened. It was just like, okay, moving on. Not a thriller, not a horror, nothing to this book. Ugh. Well, I didn't like the characters, don't waste your time. Then we have Tinfoil Butterfly, which was about this girl who is hitchhiking across the country, and she gets picked up by this guy who ends up being like a real dick. She fights him, and he ends up like getting away from him, and she's like, he's chasing her down, and she ends up hiding in this like ghost town or whatever, where she finds this little kid who comes from like this really messed up family. I don't know. This book was said to be like one of the most like one of the scariest books ever wrote, and it was not. There was nothing scary about it. It was just weird. It was very disturbing in some parts, and like not in a good way that I like. It was just like made me feel wrong. Like this, I don't want to read this. Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff surrounding the kid and adults, and like, oh, I don't want to read this.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it started out really strong. Like when she was hitchhiking, got picked up by the dude and all of that. I'm like, man, this is really good. And then just like downhill from there. Didn't work for me. No, thank you. And then we have Mayfly here. This book was deemed as like the female version of American Psycho. 100% is that. I absolutely loved it. The sex scenes and stuff in this book are a little bit too much for me personally. And the entire time that I was reading this book, I was just like, this is gross, this is weird, but I loved it. It was so good. It's like the main character works at Disney as Anna or Elsa, one of the two, and she's a Disney princess by day, and she's got a lot of killer interests at night, so it's really good. It's really good. Highly recommend. And then we have Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, which is about a group of tourists who get stranded out in the Colorado Rockies at a cabin during a like really big huge blizzard, and they start getting murdered like one by one. Ooh. And they think that it's somebody in their group that's doing it because there's nobody else out there. Yeah, and so they're like trying to figure out who it is, who's killing them. I was not anticipating the graphic descriptions of the bodies and the mutilation and all of that in this book, and I really liked it a lot. It was really good. It was so well done. Like, oh my god.
And it was such a pleasant surprise.
It was. It was. We talked about all the... yeah, it was good. And I really liked her writing. It kept me intrigued the whole way through. The ending I did predict, but then the book like tricked me and made me think that I was wrong.
Oh.
So like I did end up being right with my prediction, but then it tricked me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really what we're doing. We're not doing, this would have been so much better if we would have done what I predicted, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh wait, we are! And I'm like, oh, you got me. You got me, Darcy. You got me. So yeah, it was really good. Also highly recommend reading it in winter during a winter storm, because the cold was written very well. Okay, now we have Small Town Horror by Ronald Malfi. This is about a group of friends who are all brought back together to their hometown after they begin to be literally haunted by an event that happened in their past. And it's very creepy. It's a very slow burn horror book. Not a whole lot happens until the very end, where things just kind of go wild and crazy, and I'm still honestly not too sure what happened at the end, but I liked it. Like, quite frankly, it kind of felt like a different book at the end, like a little bit, but I liked it. I don't fully understand it, but it was good.
I get you.
Yeah.
Arrow the Ninth. Didn't understand a darn thing that went on in that book. Gave 4 stars.
Yeah, it was good. It was definitely really creepy. I like Ronald Malfi's writing, so it's one I'm going to be reading from again. Like, I'm going to read from him for sure. Then we have You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. I don't know why I'm pointing at it. I have it right here. Yeah. This is a book about a girl who books an Airbnb on a ranch in a small town, Wyoming, and we're led to believe that her life might be in danger by the Airbnb host.
Ooh.
and stuff like that. Like, she really shouldn't have come there. This book, this was a book that I didn't want to put down, and any free second that I had, I wanted to read it. But I thought that the conversations between the characters and the things that they said, like, it was so unrealistic, and I'm like, nobody talks like this. So that was kind of frustrating. And then the ending I thought was predictable, some of it, to a point, because the point that I didn't predict was so far out in left field it didn't make any sense. So I'm not holding that against me. I think that that's a flaw here.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, really? And, like, I don't know. There wasn't, like, a ton of things that happened. It was more so, like, trying to get you, like, paranoid. It was trying to make you paranoid as a reader, because you're following along from the point of view of both her and then also the Airbnb host. And so you're kind of like, okay, like, what's going on here? Like, you can clearly see something's up. Hated the host, the Airbnb host dude. Oh my god, I wanted to punch him in the face. Like, the things that he said, and like, and it wasn't like he was being creepy. It was just like, first off, nobody says these things, and second off, you are just like, oh my god, ew. Oh my god, ew. Like, he's like saying that he's like fallen in love with her. She's been there for 2 days. Like, I love you. Like, fuck off, Cal. Or whatever his name was. Calvin. Like, Calvin. I think that was his name. Yeah. No. Get out of here with that. Okay, and then finally, we have The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. This is about a lady who discovers that there is a portal to another world in her uncle's oddity museum / house, and so she teams up with her next door neighbor / coffee shop owner and whatever, and they have to try and close the portal, and a lot of weird shit happens.
It's Gravity Falls.
Yeah, kind of. This book was good. Like, there was stuff that was happening like all throughout the book, like little scenes. It was so creepy. It was graphic. It was gory. Oh my gosh, it was good. And there was humor thrown in there too, and I loved it. And T. Kingfisher's writing is always amazing, and so you're just like transported to this other world, and I was freaked out for some parts of it, because I'm like, oh my god, like, what is gonna happen? I can never look at willow trees the same again. Like, I will never go near Willow. Like, it was so good. Like, yeah, you need to read that.
Yeah,
one.
I will. It's on my list now.
So good.
It is now on my list.
We're good?
There we go.
We're good?
Okay, I'm gonna breathe now. I don't feel like I breathed at all during that, so.
Yeah, that was pretty fast. All right, so I
You're
have
welcome.
one book, Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Blakely. This was the Goodreads Choice Award winner for the science fiction category, and so I read it because I have 25 books in 2025 to read that were Goodreads Choice Award nominees for the last 3 years. So this is the first one I picked up. Should have started somewhere else. I ended up giving this 2 stars. So about the first 25-30% of this book, I really did like. It's about somehow England has discovered time travel, like Britain, England has discovered time travel. And for some reason, they decide that they need to go back in time and get people who are going to die and snatch them, bring them forward to the present. And it's this, so the front of it is an experiment to see how humans handle time travel. And there is some pretty interesting ideas here about how time travel might have a physical effect on your body, kind of like how we experiment with how space has a physical effect on humans. So it's kind of like that. It's about how can a person from the past mentally transition into a present time? Can they handle that? So those kinds of things, I think, was the front of this Ministry of Time, to kind of start those kind of experiments. So each of the people who are brought forward is paired with another person that's called their bridge, and this bridge lives with them out in society and helps them, teach them about local, current time customs and society and all of the rules of how to live in the present day. So the first part of it was about, them coming forward and moving into with their bridges and getting used to this kind of stuff. And it centers around one in particular. They call them expats. One in particular named Graham Gore, who was a historical figure, a real one, for anyone who might recognize that name. And his Bridge, who is the female main character, who is never named in this book. I don't know why, but she's never named. And Graham's name for her is Little Cat. So there's that, and of course it is a time travel romance. There's really no actual time travel in the book. So it's not like the time traveler's wife kind of story where,
that day.
you know, it's like time travel at the beginning, and then it's like nothing after that. So it's about these two developing a relationship. So that's part of the book. I don't like the main character. I did not like her at all. She was very self-absorbed. And a lot of the time she would just very much like, it was almost like she was grooming him to like her. Because when they introduced them to music, then she would introduce him to the music she liked. If they were introducing him to modern foods, she would cook the foods that she liked. Mm. And so it was always like she had this agenda with him. And then even at one point towards the end, he accuses her of it. And then that's it. That's all the book deals with it, like, at all. So I didn't like the main character. I understood why she was attracted to him, but this was told in first person. So I did not understand from their interactions why he was attracted to her, why he loved her. I didn't get it at all. And I didn't really care for the way she did it either. So then there's this other plot in there, the subplot of the time travel and what's really going on and all of the weird, it's almost like a spy kind of thing. And it just really was never explained very well. I mean, I really like the idea of this. It's just that nothing was ever fleshed out very well. Nothing was developed very well. The main character was just, like I said, she was supposed to, like, her entire job was to be helping him go to, you know, in society, but then she would not do that. And then it was only like she would introduce things and then worry about whether if he liked her, what things that she liked or not. Mm. And then when it came to the point where, like, they were trying to integrate them and, you know, this is the rest of your life. What are you going to do? What do you want to do? And he had been a naval officer in his time. He was talking about that. And all she was worried about was, like, if he adjusted too well, then he'd leave her. So it was almost like she was, like, undermining him sometimes.
That's interesting.
You know, it was, I don't know. And then she would throw in these parts, like, the main character had a friendship with one of the other expats, which was a woman from the 1600s. And they had a relationship, but sometimes it was like, oh, girly, you know, let's have a sleepover, and I'll do your hair. And has anybody introduced you to makeup yet? It was weird. It's just weird in this otherwise serious tone, you know, serious book. And then the main character was half Cambodian, half white, and her mother had survived the Cambodian genocide and come to England and, of course, married her dad. So there was parts where it tried to be a literary book where it would talk about, like, she's white appearing, and so she passes for white, and it talks about, you know, things like feeling guilt over doing that and not, like, being upfront with people about your biracial heritage. Also talked a lot, but then it talks about that, but then it talks about her feeling racism about her being half Cambodian. So it's kind of odd. Then there's also, you know, her feeling like at odds because she lives as a white, as a British, and feeling at odds with that Cambodian part. But that's just in there. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. If anything, it honestly just reinforces how self-centered she is. Because she goes on about how she passes for white and then gets mad about racism and stuff. And I shouldn't say racism in general, but, like, racism how it affects her. And then there's this other character who's a person of color, and she has the weirdest relationship with this person. Like, she walks in and she's thinking in this meeting how this woman, her hair looks really nice, but she didn't know if she could say anything about it or not, so she just didn't. Weird. And then, like, how the book treated this other character. And it was literally the only other person of character color in the book. And how they, I don't know, it just felt kind of icky. But I did say I would probably read from her again because I think she's a good writer. Some of her metaphors are a little odd, but, you know, that could just be from being a new debut author. I think she has really cool ideas. It's just learning how to develop those ideas and not want to tell every story ever in one book. You know, pick one. And, you know, maybe, I think if Graham had a point of view also, it would have been so much better. It really would have. Maybe it would have made the main character more sympathetic. Seeing her from a different perspective, I think would have been better too. So, I know I'm not a great way to kick off my 25 and 25, but...
And maybe it'll all be up from here.
This did not deserve to win. It didn't. It just didn't. And it reinforces my belief that as long as there's romance, as long as it's romantasy, as long as it's fantasy with romance, as long as it's time travel romance, it's gonna win. Because everybody is like romance crazy at the moment.
I don't get it.
That's my belief.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is my only book that I actually finished in the month.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, yeah. Well, we're going to run out of space on my phone here real soon, so we're going to wrap things up. Hopefully you could understand my rapid fire and enjoyed Kelly's talk about her book from January. If you did enjoy watching, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, go on down below the video and hit the red subscribe button. Join the Everyday Adventure family so you can see our beautiful faces every Sunday with new book videos. Also go check us out over on Instagram and TikTok with more bookish content and updates.
Yeah. And while you're doing all that, check out the rest of Amy's channel, because it isn't just book stuff. She now has a cooking segment. Sounds so clucking good. There is home decor. There's home renovations. There's home deep cleaning projects. I just saw a TikTok where now she's doing new renovations as well. And you can't help but love the kitties that show up and pop up all the time anyway.
They're the best.
And when you're done with all of that and you want some more, go check out our blog as well, where you can read features like Watch It Wednesdays and Foodie Fridays. Do all that, become a part of the entire Everyday Adventurer family. Family. Welcome to the family. I'm still getting t-shirts.
Yeah.
The Bohemian Underground.
Yes.
Welcome
Please
to the
do.
family.
Please do. I want one of those.
I think we need to.
Yes.
Yep.
Alright, well that's going to do it for us today. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'm Amy.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are
The Everyday Epic.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.